overall trends and what are the challenges? So to explain that, I'm going to hand it over to Prayukth, who will share with us some insights, important thoughts around what do we see as current trends and challenges. So Prayukth, happy to hear from you.
Hey, thank you, Pritham. Very important points that you mentioned about the pillars of the framework, right? I think that is where the resource attention should go, and that is where we are lacking currently in terms of if we see how the threat landscape is evolving. Actually, it is factored in the fact that many of the manufacturing entities out there have not really geared up, their response mechanisms to factor in the kind of evolutionary pressures that are out there, which are working to make these hackers develop much what you'd say, more potent versions or variants of the malware out there to beat these very systems down and take out data, take out confidential information, and take out systems which are out there. Very recently, Pritham, incidentally, as recently as the Thanksgiving weekend, right, we saw a spurt in attacks on manufacturers. Right. Again, there are a lot of these episodes which are tied in with either geopolitical events, either with holidays, or some kind of distraction that might be on the horizon, or potential distraction that might be out there. So when we look at the trends that are happening, obviously the attacks are on the rise, and these attacks have definitely got an origin in the kind of challenges that manufacturers are facing in to improve and evolve their response mechanisms, and also their strategies to sort of box in these cyber attacks and sort of take them away from their core systems and what they have in their OT and other infrastructures that we're seeing. So the governance mechanism is where the key challenges are emerging from, because the structures and the frameworks that Pritham you mentioned are all geared towards IT. So OT is something that has been neglected for a fairly long period of time. This has got to do with various reasons, but mainly what this has led to is that the mechanism, the governance structures have not evolved to keep up with the kind of threat landscape changes that we've seen in the last couple of decades. Then again, we have seen that though there is a lot of attention coming in from the compliance side, especially as far as the critical infrastructure is concerned, but then again, there are a lot of voluntary mandates that have been presented to various entities, including critical infrastructure operators and manufacturers as well. So these are early days for these frameworks to sort of be utilized, and so for them to mature and settle into the operational processes and what have you, as far as the manufacturers are concerned. And we are going in that direction, but we are not going fast enough. So that is becoming a challenge again. Enhancing the security levels and efficacy of existing cybersecurity mechanisms, very important point there. This again is an outcome of the slow evolution that is happening, because all the mechanisms that we have are all geared towards IT. OT does require, or rather is getting some attention, but then again, we can do with more attention, more resources, more planning, more strategizing, and to also operate with a large amount or a lot of visibility, so that we are very clear as to what is happening at various levels out there and what kind of breach tactics are these hackers and other actors out there playing with to create these challenges for us. Rolling out a compliance program, again, institutional response mechanisms have really lagged in the kind of, as I said, they are not aligned to the forces which are playing out there. So these are the forces which are putting not just an evolutionary pressure, but they are also putting an economic pressure on manufacturers to sort of evolve themselves. By that, I mean that at one end, we are seeing manufacturers sort of working towards putting these structures in place. On the other, we are also seeing that the hackers are staying a step ahead of these mechanisms and sort of creating these breaches and sort of other challenges, security challenges for manufacturers at various points in time. So everything takes a step back once a cyber attack takes place, right? There are a lot of revenue losses. There is loss in production. There is loss in capacity. There will be reputational challenges that come in. Overall, it creates a situation where the entire roadmap of a manufacturer gets disrupted, and that has been the biggest outcome of a lack of a compliance program that runs across an enterprise. System and infrastructure protection strategies, again, these have not kept up with the with the kind of evolution we are seeing in cyberspace as far as malware developers are concerned. Things are moving, but as I said, they are not moving fast enough. We need to do a lot more. We need to have much more easy to adopt frameworks. We need to also have some level of flexibility as far as institutions are concerned, so that they can move much faster. They can incorporate these frameworks and mechanisms much more easily, and they can also sort of adapt to what is to all these evolutionary forces that are operating around them.